piece of shit covered in metallic paint.
And that's
Sorry
the
for
point
that.
I was trying to make, is that that's part of the problem.
It is the problem. How can we break with this problem? How do you think we can break with this problem? I don't have the key, but I'm just throwing some ideas. I will start highlighting certain elements to start defining a little bit. Defining is the word, blending is not the word. We search for definition. When we go to a mall and we want to buy a TV, we search for 4K. We search for H definition. We don't search for super smoothness, right?
Yes.
I use a claim since a few years ago that is called fuck smoothness. Have you heard about that at some point? Well, some people hate me because I say fuck smoothness, because it's like the word fuck is like too aggressive. Guess how many times you use the word fuck in your day by day? Seriously, how many times? Sometimes, no? How many times you hear this in a song? How many times your kids are dancing Anaconda by Nicki Minaj, right? So don't be hypocritical, is it? Hipócrita?
Yeah.
¿Cómo se dice? Hypocrite?
Hypocrite.
So we shouldn't be hypocrite, right?
Hypocrites.
Hypocrites, yes. Thank you very much. So it's like this word was, this fuck smoothness claim, it was just one way to say to the miniature world, hey guys, from a person who has painted completely smooth for many companies. Because when I was working in Andrea, what do you think? That they let me paint with brushstrokes? No. I was painting fucking Romans and Nazis for Andrea miniatures, right? So I have been already there. And now what's next? And what's next is up to you guys. If something is good no matter the style. And it's no matter how many brushstrokes you see or how is the outcome. Then you can like it more or less. But the quality of painting cannot be measured just by the accuracy of a blending. Because otherwise everybody will paint the same. And this is what is happening. Do you have Instagram, guys? Who has Instagram? Who follows miniature painters on Instagram? How many Space Marines you have seen painted in the same way for the last year? How many? Hundreds?
Endless.
Endless, right? These, I belong to the period of the golden era of Golden Demon. This is when, let's say, beginning of the 2000s, especially in the UK and France, and Spain as well, the level of the Golden Demon was amazing. And most of the professional painters that paint nowadays, we came from this period, right? It was a generation somehow, no matter if it sounds wrong, because it sounds cocky for us. We attack our world. It's like, oh, what's such a cocky guy? If this is someone who is coming from a chef, for example, for cooking, and he tells you this, oh, such an interesting story, right? But because he's a painter who says that, oh, cocky guy. Well, that was a fact. In that period, we were exploring the techniques. Maybe 30 people in the world could paint a perfect blending. 30, 40, no more. When we saw the paintings from, I don't know, Gianfranco Speranza, Mike Blanc, Bill Oran, we were like, oh my God, I mean, we have not seen something like this in our life. Now, how many people paint like this? Come on, guys. Everybody. The level has grown so much that everybody has access to a decent technique. There are video tutorials, Patreon, magazines, even more if you follow step-by-steps. That's what I tell you. If you search for step-by-step, you're searching for the result, not for the experience. Because the experience is to develop this by yourself and to take your own conclusions. The color don't react exactly the same for me than for you. I can tell you that. Because my way of brush stroking is different. My way of diluting is different. The pigments I will use naturally are different than yours, right? And that's the reason why two painters with the same level, they have different results. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is more about freedom with knowledge. This is not ranting and saying, no man, do whatever you want without any consequences. No, obviously, there's things that are not well done. And when you don't interpret the volume in the right way and it looks odd, You know when your mom tells you, oh son, you know what? I don't find this, it's like something wrong there. Maybe she's right and she don't know nothing about painting, but she has a fresh eye, maybe, right? That happens very often indeed. My wife tell me like, what a shit is this, you know? And I'm like, oh, come on. And it's like, next day it's like, well, it's pretty bad, to be fair, right? So we are also, and I'm talking about with you, I finish in 10 seconds. We are also not used to be criticized. And that's a really bad symptom for our newborn art. Sorry.
Just to finish what you're saying, is that you're saying 15 years ago there was 40 people in the world that could paint like that, and now everyone can. Well, the reason is because there is so many tutorials that are step-by-steps, and so much resource on there. And the reason you're not getting what you're talking about is because those tutorials are very much, this is how you get a Space Marine. Not, this is how you go crazy and produce something massively emotional.
And now I'll give you a sentence with this. I produce in Patreon, and I have not produced one video about how to paint this exactly.
No.
Instead of, I'm painting this, and here we talk about color theory, dilution. Am I right?
Yeah, but you are.
Do you know what happened? But you know what happened? That I have the half of followers than the one who makes pre-made step-by-step.
Yeah.
So who is the fault? Because now for me, I want to live, I want to have a family, you know, I have also the right to have a family, right? And I'm now in the moment of saying, I'm gonna do step-by-steps. Fuck them. They don't wanna learn? Don't care. To me, it's easier. You know, I can produce more content, easier, cheaper for me, more expensive for you, right? So it's also the fault of the hobbyist. Cannot be all the fault of the professionals, you know? The hobbyist is the one who demand one content or the other.
But that's the journey that people have been taking.
I made this for my hobby, and my idea is to have a nice collection. And I don't have time to spend to research or to start from the beginning. That means I make respect some rules to have short time to finish something.
And that makes sense. That's a reason. But you have a reason. It's like me, I like to cook, okay? Well, I like to cook. And when I want to cook something that I have never cooked, I go and I search for a step-by-step process in YouTube. But then I don't go to a contest and I call myself a chef. And that's the main difference, right? Today, I have judged, next one. Today, I have judged, oh, take care with the shirt. No, it's fine, it's fine. I don't want to bother you, that's quite strong. I have judged downstairs with two pieces that are a literal copy of a video by one Patreon.
Probably make it by me, for example.
The piece was actually quite interesting, quite good well painted. How can I judge you as a painter? I cannot. Because I know, I mean, maybe imagine I could not know that, right? But maybe because I know, I cannot see it with the same perspective because you have not decided where to place the lights. And maybe sometimes it's just a matter of realizing what is your level and that enjoying your hobby doesn't necessarily mean to make 300 different lights and material reflections and at once without understanding. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying, man, if you want to do it, try to do it step by step. You cannot play with a bouncing light or with a rim light if you don't know how to illuminate a simple volume. You cannot. And that's why sometimes when I see those figures and they're painting amazingly, then the displays with 3 more figures and the one that has never been seen in a video tutorial, it's like crap. So it's like, this is fantastic and this is not. Why? Because the painter is not being honest with himself. So the point of this is, man, something like this is easy. It's easy to do. This is easy to do. That's why in a demo, I do a trick like this. Don't get me wrong. Because it's a good way to make my reasoning. Right? It's a good way to start my speech somehow with some color mixing. Otherwise, you will think, who is this guy? when he come here and start speaking, right? This is the basis of everything. Because if I want to say, Kata-chan green, no? This is uniform.
Can I have a comment in the meantime?
Yeah, sure.
I think most people don't mix their own paints because the companies that sell paints don't sell actually a very good color.
That's changing, but I agree.
Because most of the paints are somewhat dull, and if you mix them, it won't be that nice color.
Completely agree with you. Something uniform, I don't know. English. No, English no. English will be a little bit more yellowish.
If I can elaborate, many people have tried mixing, and they learn from this video that if you mix, I don't know, blue and yellow, you get green. But if you take blue and yellow, that looks kind of blue and kind of yellow, but they're actually not really pure. There's a bit of red in it, and you don't get green, you get some brownish stuff. So you keep getting bad experiences with mixing colors.
Yes.
And that forces you into just buying pre-mixed colors and following whatever tutorials.
Yes.
Because you are using the wrong pigments as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the point is, this is a way to introduce yourself in the color mixing, right? Indeed, I mean, there's not a goal for this. This is, to me, or my way, the reason why I do this speech or these lectures or demos, how you want to call it, in contests, in events like this, is because here I have the chance to speak with people that I don't used to reach somehow. When you come to my class, I cannot do that because you already know where you're coming and what you're searching for, so then I have to develop another speech. To me, coming here, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been in many demos by many artists that I follow to see, hey, I want to see this texture by Kirill, I go there and I see it. And that's perfect. You cannot copy Kirill. You cannot. I have had miniatures from Kirill in my hand, in my studio, because we have collectors in common, and they live near me. And I go there and say, I want 2 of Kirill, 1 of Tue, and 1 of whoever Marma's clans, because I want to study. I will be a fool if I don't do that, right? And I have checked his figures. Indeed, for example, you remember the first amazing non-metallic knight that was like this, that everybody was like, oh my God, right? Me too. I was like, shit, motherfucker, you know? I took this piece and I look it with a magnifier glass for what's it? 4 4 plus magnifier, super magnifier glass.
4x4.
His stippling method is so perfect that unless you are like him in every sense, you cannot paint like that. I have an excellent technique, but my technique is far away from him because my temper, I am nervous, I am aggressive, I am passionate, and he is the opposite, right? So painting has to do with the temper and the character of the people. And if you want to enjoy your painting, you have to accept yourself. Because there's nothing worse than being glazing, because that's a regular, like a natural process, right? When it was, let's say, 2006, and I was going to compete against the French masters in the Golden Demon, these guys used to mix super pure, intense colors, like make 300 gradients in this size. Really impressive. With a glazing technique. It was pure glazing, right? And they accumulate the color just by patches, right? Very diluted color, a glaze, right? 90% water or more, and insisting over a white primer, right? That was the technique back at this time, right? And we went there and we wanted to learn that, but we were Spanish. We came from the Baroque painting. Our painters are dark. it's Tenebrism, you know, it's Velázquez, it's Rivera, it's Murillo. These guys is what we have fed ourselves. This is what we know, right? And naturally, we go for a more contrasted ambience because it's how we are, right? No matter how much you force yourself to copy someone, if you are not like this, and believe me, I can force myself to do a perfect sibling, but for 30 minutes. After that, I want to kill myself because I'm not like this. Well, I don't see Kirill painting like this. Hey, because he's not like that. There's nothing. Thank you very much, man. You are the best of the class. Well, till this point, is this interesting or you're already bored? Are you interested?
I am super interested.
Cool,
It's
thank you very much.
educational and funny, perfect.
Thank you very much. Because I'm running out of jokes, so I need some. The problem with this is that this has to be, this has to affect you, seriously. The message I'm bringing is a good message. If you want to paint in a classic style because it's what you like, go for it. I love classic style. When I see Mike Blanc, I'm a fanboy. I met Mike Blanc last year in Monte San Sabino. He came to me after a demo, or after not last year, 2 years ago. After this, we make like speed painting. I make like a speed painting competition to speak about these things and make fun and let the people, you know, they don't have time, so they have to run and they have to be more expressive, right? And Mike Blanc was there. He came to me to say that he was very surprised and to congratulate me. I started to cry, you know. He was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, I went to phone my mom and my wife because I was so, you know, surprised by this, you know. This guy is my hero since I was 14 years old, but his outcome is completely different than mine. I love to see his pieces. I don't like to paint like him. It's a different thing, right? That doesn't mean that I am against that, not at all. This is all about what do you want to do with the paint. If you tell me, Alfonso, I want to be expressive and I want to paint with, I don't know, like super contrasted lights because this is what attracts me because I love Blade Runner and...
Good investment.
Let's do something, no? So if you feel that, you can do this. Or you can do this. There's not a big issue with that. This is just paint, guys. We have to lose the fear of painting. Because sometimes when I'm seeing, especially in the contest, that they have the luck to judge, because to me it's a honor and it's something that I value a lot. But I see that some people follow something just because it's the trend. Don't get me wrong. It's like, I want to make a rim light coming from one side, right? I don't throw you because it's... And they start adding some orange or some neon green from one side. But it's so poor, it's so dull, it's no intense at all. And they tell you, yeah, but you know, it's like, I was going too far and then I was scared because it was too fluorescent. And then people will tell me that this is wrong. This is wrong. What, have you been in Thailand? Have you been in Vegas? Have you been in your home with the screen of the computer? Have you checked those contrasts? Have you checked the TV, any fucking show, TV show, with the contrast of nowadays? That was a saying of a guy from a historical site in the World Expo of Montreux in 2012 in Switzerland, and he was there judging. And we were having a conversation, and one of the historical guys, he told me in a very despective way, he told me something like, Caravaggio will never paint with fluorescent colors. I say, you really think so? Okay, because you know, it's this kind of attitude when they think that because you are younger, you're stupid, or something like this, or that you have not read a book in your life, right? Sometimes you read also, right? And it was like, well, it's very interesting because Caravaggio, you know a little bit of Caravaggio, the story? He was a duelist. He goes to hookers every day. He gets drunk every day. And he lived by night every day. every day. Indeed, he lived in a city until the police wants to, cogerle? To catch him. To catch him, and then he ran to another city because there he was an outlaw, right? This guy was living during the night. Why do you think that this guy painted chiaroscuro? Because he lived in a tavern every day of his life. So he painted what he saw. So when the guy told me, no, they couldn't paint with flashy colors and inks, he would be in Vegas probably today. Surrounded by strip clubs, neon lights. So he probably will be the painter who paints more with neon lights. And this is related to what I'm saying. The painting has to be honest with yourself. I love contrast. I am contrasted. It's my personality. Sometimes I can exaggerate for a purpose, like in a demo. It's not that I'm not like this every day, otherwise my wife will not be with me, right? But essentially I am like this. If you are a guy that you are more subtle, that you are more controlled, that you love everything more, like more organic, more like step by step, then it's good for you. You can follow that path. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to represent yourself. The problem is that I see so many paints that don't represent themselves. You can check that. When we saw that shark, it was a shark. That was it. Is the shark yours? It's from some of you, the shark? It's a shark pirate or whatever, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Is yours? Well, the paint job is really good. It's really good. It's really good for the. It was a standard, no? Well, for standard, sincerely, it's the best of the category. What's my problem? This guy has not painted this. This guy has been the executioner. But this is like if I tell you you're an engineer, and I tell you, you paint?
I paint like you said, like an executor.
Well, but if I tell you that you are the engineer, or you tell me, use this, you're an engineer about, what is your?
Construction of machines.
Fantastic, the thing that I know the most. Okay, so you tell me, here you will use this piece and you place it here. Then you use this piece and you place it here. And then you use that, but not this, because this is plastic and this is not resistant. You use this because it's more resistant. Whatever. But I do it. Who is the artist? You or me?
I'm not an artist.
Well, who is the creator of that? You or me? Me not.
I'm not considered to be an artist. The idea to judge, you must judge what is better and what is best. I'm an executor.
But you are executing something without understanding. That's the point.
Probably it's completely correct, 100%.
So if you understand, as soon as you understand something, no matter, everybody has executed at some point. I have copied Diego Ruina when I was younger. I have copied Danilo Cartacci. I have copied Numitone. I have copied the people that were interesting, inspiring for me. See you girls. Super record. Bye bye. We'll be alone. Myself. I didn't swear that much, I guess, no? I was, no, in the limit.
Permission to go to the toilet?
Obviously. So, there's nothing wrong in copying something if you know that you're copying.
To have a good collection.
Oh, definitely. No,
To
no.
be happy in my home.
For sure, for sure. That's what you have to do, because this is what pleased you, right?
Yeah.
But if next year you come to me and you say, look at my figures.
Never I could say this.
Exactly.
Never.
Well, then you are honest. You are not. You are in this conversation, but you are in the same army like me. You know what I mean? The point is, if you want to learn something, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to see which things you are stronger, no? Which things you are weaker at. That makes sense?
Yes, yes.
Me personally, that now I'm having some like troubles, like for example, I don't see very well. Maybe because I've been painting figures for 15 years. And when I was painting, I painted a very old bust of a gladiator from Pegaso for the Patreon. What? Have you seen, some of you, this piece? Well, I show you.
Yeah.
And this bust, I wanted to do in a more, no, I wouldn't say traditional way, but more focused on the ambience. Let me find it. 2 seconds. Okay.
The camera.
But more technical. What do you think? It's convincing? You can enlarge. If you want.
False.
Oh, sorry. See, but the colors will probably.
Use the technique.
Yeah.
Is this fog smoothness? It is?
I mean, if you zoom in.
So now follow me.
Yeah.
You look too close.
Yeah, I remember this
Yeah.
picture.
It's not okay.
Basically, what you're talking about is the skills and techniques are easy to learn, and everybody could replicate them, while the spirit and the emotions are personal and individual.
Exactly, that's personal.
I think it's good to copy something if you want to learn a new technique, but after that you can interpret the new technique as your own way.
You have to make it this your own, exactly. And first, it's a matter of taste. Some people feels embarrassed. I mean, seriously, do you think? I mean, that's obviously a good paint job. And I would be a fake humble guy if I tell you, oh, it's not bad. No, man, it's a really good paint job. Then you can like it more or less. Maybe it's your style, maybe it's not, right? But the point is that every painting is based on the same fundamentals, which is color mixing. That's why I use big palettes. And if people ask me, do you use this palette at home? Well, at my studio, yes, and even bigger. Because that gives me the chance to also develop not only mixtures instead of different brushstrokes, because my brushstroke is not this. Is this, is this, is this, is this, is this. It's like a sword, right? So you have, seriously, I used to paint like this, because sometimes I need the effect. If I need the effect, makes no sense that I paint like this, because I lose the effect with that, right? So it's all a matter of attitude. I guess that when you go to a demo, it's because you want to learn, most of you. Some of you maybe because you are curious about the character itself, or you are bored. we were waiting for it. But these fundamentals are the color mixing, the interpretation of the color, how you perceive it, how you analyze, how you digest the color, how able you are to drink the wine and tell you what are the nuances of this wine. That's why you go to, have you ever gone to una cata de vinos, a wine taste? Have you ever?
Yes.
Who? So, but are you an expert of this? I'm not an expert, okay? I'm a redneck of wine, okay? I mix it with Coke. So I went to La Rioja. You know La Rioja? La Rioja is one of the most important places where they make wine in the world, is in Spain, right? And I went there and they brought me to, I don't remember, it was one of de las más importantes allí. Well, whatever, a very important wine manufacturer, right? And they make a wine test. And they say, you know what, here, you will feel the smoky feeling of blah, 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 with some touches of vanilla, and most of the people, we were like, where's the cheese, right? Because not everybody is ready for taste those nuances. You have to train your tongue. It's not a bullshit. It's not that she is saying bullshit. No, it's that you are not ready for that. It's the same as when you speak with a musician, he's listening to a concert and he say, oh, he failed twice. And you're like, you are not used to that. You are not used to analyze so deep, right? So then you can just listen to music as you do with painting. I just want to, you say, I want to enjoy. Fair enough. I listen to trap music, and I was discussing with my friend Ruben Martinez, who is the second winner of the Crystal Brass this year, that is from Big Child. Say hello to him later. He's a fantastic guy. And he is a heavy metal, right? And we were discussing about this in the plane, right? Oh, trap music is shit. No, man, it's shit for you. Because I hear your whatever, Iron Maiden, and I am bored of this. Because I was fed up of this when I was 15. And now I listen to trap music that I recognize that is not the most elaborated music, but I'm like, hey, hey. So what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong. But I will never say, no, man, trap music is the gourmet music. No, it's not. It's just something to enjoy. If you just want to enjoy, don't complicate yourself. If you want to learn, then you have to complicate yourself. There's no other way. Because if you just follow recipes, I promise you, you will not learn nothing unless you copy and then you reflect. But reflecting is not coming to a contest.
I don't want to come to a contest.
No, I'm not attacking you, I don't know.
I know, I'm just telling you that my process is I'm trying to learn. I don't want to come to a contest. I want to enjoy art.
Cool. So then
develop myself.
So then you develop yourself. That's the point of all this shit.
Yeah.
Then we're in the same. I need to make examples. When you are a little bit loose in the way you apply the color, things happen. An accident happen, and interesting mistakes happen. Every artist, and I know many of different fields, if you're a good artist, you recognize the good mistakes. And most of the best pieces ever are based on mistakes. If you follow just one way, you will never discover these mistakes. Like for example, here I have a lack of resource, which is the satiness of the ink doesn't allow the color to settle down. It takes much more time, right? The